Hello and welcome back, YouTube. So I'm trying to shoot video on Obamaphone 3 again. I'm not sure how much space I freed up on it. Probably not much. It's 10:56 p.m. Still Saturday, September 9th, 2023. I'm on my way over to the Wander Inn. It wouldn't be a full weekend for me if I didn't at least make an appearance there and sing something, right? I did get another message from Priscilla on Snapchat asking if I fell asleep, and so I told her that I rubbed one out and passed out. So give her something to think about. The reality is I was working on my vlog. I did do a little bit of cleaning, admittedly not much. I actually used my turntable for the first time since right after Tony Bennett died. In fact, I left my heart in San Francisco was still sitting on my turntable from the night after Tony Bennett died, when I was digging into his catalog, gave myself sort of a little tribute and just fell asleep to that album side, because that album side is so relaxing. Although the last song on that side, which somehow I've been missing, like I kept listening to the first song and most of the second song, and then I would either leave or kind of tune it out or fall asleep, because I did keep that record playing for a few days after he died. I forget the name of the last song on that album side, but its lyrics kind of something that I want to say, it's kind of something that would maybe not fly today, might be looked at as misogynistic today, but then I listen to new hip hop, and there's really no comparison. I tried to look up the Tony Bennett song I was just talking about while I was at the ATM, and my internet on my iPhone is being really useless at the moment, which happens from time to time with Mint Mobile. I don't think I'm out of data yet for the month. Usually I get a text message. In fact, I've always got a text message before that happens, so I don't see that being the issue. I'm thinking just bad reception here, or just so many people on the T-Mobile network and on other networks that use the T-Mobile network that I'm being given less priority, because that's how T-Mobile treats Mint Mobile users on their network. It's thrills and spills of the internet in the age after net neutrality. So I just drove almost a quarter mile with my headlights off. That was fabulous. Which reminds me, I really need to replace the damn plastic lenses on the front of my car. I've got the funds to do it right now, although I still haven't squared away my PayPal account, and I wouldn't be able to pay for them without that. So yeah, still some loose ends I gotta tie up. Although I finally, whoa, Jesus, I know that speed bump is there and more intense than the rest of them, and every now and then I just kind of forget to slow down for that one. That one's pretty heinous too. You know, and the ridiculous thing is I'm not excessively speeding for this street. This is a residential street, presumably a speed limit of 25, and I was doing around 20 at that speed bump. So I don't know. I find them, when they're like that, that's just excessive. And if it was daylight, you could see that there's a lot of scraping to it. So whoever put that one in got a little overzealous. But I know it's there, and I need to be more careful than that, because God knows the suspension on this poor car has been to hell and back. So as I was saying, Went through all the scrap papers in my back left pocket, which sounds like it would be nothing, but I've got a bad habit of every time I change clothes, just taking the crap out of my back left pocket and putting it in my next back left pocket. And I tend to put a lot of small paper notes and stuff in there. And to give you an idea of how long it's been since I've taken the time to pull all that shit out and go through it, I found the little Post-it note that one of the 3 gorgeous young black women in the office at MLS wrote down her email address on for me to email the image of my Social Security card. Just in case anybody remembers that incident on my vlog, because I talked about that, and that was like 2 months ago. So that was the oldest thing in there I could recognize. Although there was a couple of different things from when my daughter was in the hospital, and that doesn't narrow it down much because she was in the hospital a couple of times. But anyway, glad I finally got around to doing that. And of course, the bulk majority of those little scraps of paper I was saving were either crumbled up to the point they were completely illegible, or they just absolutely weren't relevant anymore. And that's something I used to do. Like, I got in the habit of putting stuff like that in that pocket, and it's something I used to do every night as part of my daily ritual. I would sit down, either put it on my desk, put it on my nightstand, go through it, sort it, and on with my day. And then somewhere along the line, I stopped doing that and just started letting it pile up, like many other things in my life. And I need to get out of the habit of that. I really do. Probably the most worthwhile thing I did, aside from finishing the cat box, that's kind of a big deal, especially to the cats. But I finally activated my new Costco credit card and signed up to use the app to go with it. And I've been saying for years that I'm going to get on that app and configure it and use it, and I never have. Hopefully I didn't give it a password that's beyond my capacity to remember, but I don't think I did. I do need to get in the habit of just logging on, logging off, logging on, because that's the only way I memorize passwords like that. Speaking of memorizing stuff, I've finally memorized my number, employee number at MLS, which I use to clock in and clock out. Now, I didn't memorize the number, which is to say, if somebody asked me the number, I wouldn't be able to tell them what the number is. So if I have to write it down, I'm still having to look up that image that I have saved of it written down. However, I memorized what it feels like on a 10 key. Clocking in and out every day wasn't enough for me to do that. But as I mentioned, when the Angry Elf was teaching me how to do, at least I think I mentioned it. I might have gone to mention it and then got sidetracked. It's possible. Anyway, when the Angry Elf was first teaching me how to handle the electric vehicles, one of the things that he showed me was, well, that guy just parked in the handicapped parking spot. I can't imagine somebody handicapped drives that kind of a truck. Judging from the shadows, that person is just picking somebody up. Maybe the passenger is handicapped. It's being picked up. Anyway, that guy hovering above me in his stupid truck, which doesn't have handicap plates, is making me uncomfortable. So I'm gonna move over here. So as I was... Shut up, car. As I was saying, when the Angry Elf was teaching me how to handle the electric cars over at Hertz, one of the things that he taught me was when they're done charging and they go into a stall, And by stall, I mean a designated parking spot where somebody who's going to potentially rent a car goes to pick up their car and drive off with it. They're all numbered. All numbered, by the way. At least the ones for Hertz are. Dollar and Thrifty is done differently, and that's a story for another time. Anyway, one of the things he taught me how to do that I didn't know how to do, oh my, I wish I had a camera facing in the direction of the truck. So the cute young Mexican gal who comes in selling flowers in the bar is getting picked up. So my guess is that's her boyfriend who's out pimping her out in her flowers. So interesting. Very interesting. She's doing all the real work and he's just driving around in his redneck pickup truck, occupying parking spots that are designated for the handicapped and driving like an idiot. I'm like, oh, good times. Now I feel all the much better about never purchasing anything from her. So anyway, part of the process is taking and keying in the car to the stall that I park it in. Now, I've been parking cars, not the electric cars, but the other cars for quite some time. Pretty much, I want to say starting in my third week of night shift. Now, the first 2 weeks, I did nothing but maintenance cars. I never drove the clean cars up and put them in stalls because I was working as a team with Glenn. It was in my third week of nights that Glenn stopped showing up, and I had to figure out some other way to do the job since I didn't have somebody to drive a shag or somebody for me to drive in a shag. So I started bringing them up, and I was told, yeah, we'll put them here, put them here. Nobody told me that I needed to take the paper slips that are in the car and go to one of the computer terminals upstairs and scan that slip and then put in my employee number followed by the stall number that I put it in. Nobody even mentioned that to me. So, is it a necessary thing? I don't know. I did it for several weeks without doing that step. But the Angry Elf taught me how to do that, and I diligently did that after learning how to do it, not only with the electric cars, but with every car that I placed in a numbered stall. And by the repetition of doing that, I've managed to learn the muscle memory of how to key in my number. Again, I don't know what the number is. I couldn't tell you the number. Not like I would say that number on here. Hello. But I mean, even if one of my supervisors asked me what my number was, I'd just look at them and dead honest say, I don't know, but let me look it up real quick. And I have a couple places on all my phones where I can look it up. But when I go to the time clock or I go to the one of the little terminals up in the rental car center to log a car into a stall, I can key it in just from feel. So hopefully I can get to where I'm that useful with my Citibank app that's tied to my Costco credit card, because I've never managed to get to the point where I can consistently get in to my Chase online banking. And that's not even entirely true. There was a time I used to get in it pretty regularly, and then at some point I screwed something up, and I just have not been able to memorize that password since. And it's been an ongoing thing for months. I mean, I remember having issues with this when I was still working at Amazon. So, and is it a necessary thing? No, I've managed that credit card for years without it. But I find I'm a lot better at being cognizant of how much debt I have on a given card and of making additional payments to try to whittle the balance down when I can do it through an app. So one more card I'm hoping to be able to manage that way.